101. Is there anyone here who thinks they're at something other than EAS 101? Well, if you're here for something else, I welcome you to stay here. But if you need to be somewhere else, this is your opportunity to go. This is a big lecture, and we have a lot of people here, but I want to invite you to be informal with me and ask me questions as I go along. So just shoot your hand up anytime I'm going along if you have any questions. I want to let you know that we're video recording this lecture and all the lectures because we're going to be sharing them with the regional campuses. So they're going to present this course as a videotaped course. So just be aware that the lectures are all being video recorded. Yes? Yeah, the question is, will you have access to the recorded lectures? And I think so, yes, I'll put them up. My biggest concern would be if I make them available, people won't come, but we're going to take roll, so that won't be an issue. So yes, you will have access to the lectures, so you can go back and review the lectures. I'm always going to repeat the questions because the only way it gets onto the video recording is if I say it through the microphone. So when you ask me a question, I'll repeat it. That way everyone can hear the question too. Any other questions? Well, welcome. And I'd like to start off and let you know that the School of Engineering and Applied Science, if you didn't know it or not, was actually started about 50 years ago, and it was in response to the Russians launching a Sputnik satellite. The Russians launched a Sputnik satellite ahead of the Americans, and it caused quite an uproar, and there was quite a bit of concern in American society that we were falling behind. And so a lot of colleges started engineering schools, and we started the School of Applied Science here, which was later changed to the School of Engineering and Applied Science. But it was in response to the Russians launching the Sputnik. Now, a point of interest is that actually the United States allowed the Russians to launch their Sputnik first on purpose. And this has just been recently declassified information. The United States had been flying spy planes over the Soviet Union, and each time you do that, it's actually an act of war. And they had shot down one or two of them. And so the United States wanted to be able to fly spy satellites over the Soviet Union, but there was no legal precedent whether a satellite flying over a country represented an act of war or what. And so the United States made a decision to let the Russians launch the first satellite, let it overfly the United States, establish a legal precedent that that was open territory, that anyone could do it, and then we overwhelmed them with spy satellites after that. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go on the web, look at NPR, and look up something called Sputnik Declassified. It's a very interesting story. But the Russians launching Sputnik is what caused Miami University to think about starting a School of Engineering, and that's why we're here today. Right now, today, the modern School of Engineering and Applied Science, we have four main departments here on the Oxford campus. We have computer science and software engineering. How many people are CSE majors? So we got a pretty good number there. And then we have electrical and computer engineering. How many ECE majors? Very good. Mechanical and manufacturing engineering? Outstanding. Chemical and paper engineering? Good. And at our regional campuses, we have a number of other majors. Now we have computer and information technology, engineering technology, and nursing. And I don't think anyone here is involved with that. But they will be viewing these videos afterwards. You know, when we started here, I looked out, I recognized a lot of people. How many people met with me either through the presentations or through advising during orientation? God, I recognize a lot of you. Okay. Now, for chemical and paper engineering, I think we've already seen this, so I'm going to go through it kind of quickly and review. But we have majors in chemical engineering, bioengineering, and then engineering management. Engineering management is a kind of a hybrid degree. It's interdisciplinary. It's part engineering and part business, and you can specialize or focus in environmental engineering or paper science. If you're interested in paper science, there's a lot of scholarship money available there. So if you haven't got your mind made up, if you're undecided, that's something to keep in mind. And they have minors in chemical engineering and paper engineering. Paper industry was really big. When they started the School of Applied Science here, after the Russians launched Sputnik, they started it by folding the Department of Paper Science into the new School of Applied Science. The Department of Paper Science was in the School of Arts and Sciences before that. And so they started this, the foundation of this school was based on paper science. Everyone thinks we're going paperless. Everyone thinks we're using less paper. Do you know that paper use is actually going up? And so there's still a lot of jobs available there. And so if you want to, we don't have a major in paper science anymore, but we do have a minor. And if you're interested in that minor, there's scholarship money available, up to $10,000 a year. And it's available for people of different majors. You don't have to be in chemical or paper engineering to take that minor. Computer science and software engineering, we have majors in computer science and software engineering. Computer science is more involved with basically developing algorithms to make different aspects of programs go. Software engineers are responsible for putting the big programs together. And then there is an engineering management degree in systems analysis. And then, of course, we have minors in computer science, computational science and engineering, and digital game studies through AIMS, which is the Armstrong Institute for Interactive Media Studies. Electrical and computer engineering, we have degrees in electrical engineering, computer engineering, and engineering management. And of course we have minors in the same areas. In mechanical and manufacturing engineering, we offer degrees in mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering, and engineering management, and the same minors. General engineering. How many general engineers do we have here? Declared general engineers. General engineering is not undecided engineering. General engineering is for people who know ahead of time they do not want to practice as engineers. This is for people who want to have an engineering background but go do something else. It's a very good degree for pre-law, for pre-med, or for just about anything else. We had a student come through. They were very interested in working in theater. And they wanted to be the person that designed and built the sets for theater, and they wanted a mechanical engineering background for that. General engineering works very well for that. The general engineering degree is something that we can tailor and kind of customize for each individual person. Now here we are, we're in EAS 101. This is not a typical engineering course. This is a course about engineering. So I don't want you to take the example of this class and think that all engineering classes are going to be like this. The engineering classes that you take are going to be different. This is about engineering. This is a seminar type class. Essentially, what you have to do to be successful here is come to the lectures and do the assignments. I guarantee to every single one of you, if you come to each lecture and you do all the assignments, you make an honest attempt. I don't care how good it is. If you make an honest attempt, you'll get an A, B, or C. No one's going to get lower than a C. There's a safety net. As long as you come here each time and you make some kind of attempt at each assignment, you'll get no lower than a C. If you skip a class, if you miss an assignment, then you're on your own and you can fall all the way to the ground with an F. So I don't expect anyone in here to get less than a C. It's just that easy. Everyone should get an A or a B in this class. It's not like that typically in other engineering classes. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Setlock. I invite each of you to address me as Bob. I ask all my students to call me Bob. I don't want to be Dr. Setlock. I don't have a PhD. I don't want to be Professor Setlock or Mr. Setlock. I'm Bob. When you go out and work, you're going to call your boss by their first name. I want you to get used to calling me by my first name. I'm most comfortable that way. That doesn't mean it's okay to call your other professors by their first name. It's only okay if you're specifically invited to do so, but I would like all of you to call me by my first name. You notice up there I have my email address. If you have a question, you email me, I will get back with you. My office is at 56 F as in Frank in the engineering building. We're in Benton, so if you go that way far enough into an engineering building, go down to the ground floor, I'm in 56 F, and you are invited to come visit me anytime. I have my phone number up there. It's really small because I prefer not to get phone calls. It's a hint. I'm actually very hard of hearing. My phone doesn't have a ringer. It just has a light that blinks. So if I don't see it blinking, I'm not even going to pick it up. I usually just get my messages at the end of the day. So the best way to get in contact with me is by email or to come and see me. I have office hours. My office hours are going to be from 1 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But I have an open door policy. And that means anytime my door is open, you can come see me. And the only reason my door is closed is if someone has something really personal they want to talk about or I'm not there. So the main point of my job is you. So I want you to feel welcome to come and see me. There are 2 textbooks for this class. The first one is Studying Engineering. And it's not just about studying engineering. It provides helpful hints and strategies for being successful at school. It involves things like developing good time management habits and so on. It's not just for engineers, it's for everybody. It was developed by a professor out at the University of Southern California. He's actually the Dean of Engineering out there. And over his years of experience, he found that there were certain habits and certain skills that allowed students to be more successful, and he compiled them all into this book. So I don't care if you're a student who is struggling or if you're a student who is doing exceptionally well, the hints in this book are going to help you do even better. The book is all about bringing out what is best in you. So if you haven't got it yet, please get this book. It will be very useful for you throughout your whole time at college. The other book is The Engineer of 2020. It's available online, and I've provided the link for everybody. It's available online for free. If you want to get a hard copy, you can get it from Amazon. It's about $35. I didn't order it from the bookstore because I didn't know how many people wanted a hard copy. In fact, how many people think they'd like to have a hard copy of that book? How many people are going to get the hard copy? So not very many. So people are going to use the free one. So I did a good job not ordering that one. Everybody should get the Studying Engineering. That's a good book. I don't care if you're an engineering major or not. That's going to be helpful. We're going to use some of that in this class. Those of you who are in mechanical or manufacturing engineering, there's going to be a follow-on class called MME 102, and we're going to delve into it in more detail. The other majors, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I hope that they will use the lessons in that book to help you be more successful. This class is a seminar class. Essentially, you're going to come here and there's going to be presentations made. There are no exams in this class. This is the only class where I'm going to be monopolizing the time. We're going to have guest speakers come and talk to you, and they're going to talk about different things that are going on at the university, opportunities for studying abroad, opportunities for research, where the resources are if you need help, if you're struggling, if you're doing well, how you can make extra money by tutoring. So we're going to have these people come in and talk to you. You can see here, today I'll be talking to you and providing the overview of the course. Next week, we're going to have some professors come in from the 4 main departments and talk about their research. And each of them should have some undergraduate students that are working with them on research and talk about the opportunities that they've had. So you'll get the perspective from the professor and from the students. After that, We're going to have our dean come in, and he'll talk about his history, how he got interested in engineering, and so on like that. You'll have an opportunity to talk with him and ask any questions you might have. Then we're going to have somebody come in and talk about career services. Career services is an office here at Miami University that doesn't just serve engineering. It's for all of you. And so we're going to have this person come in. His name is Clark Kelly, and he's going to talk to you about what is available at career services and how you can make the most of it. During your time here, I would like to think that every single one of you are going to take an opportunity and serve an internship somewhere. That is where you go work as, if those of you who are engineering students, you go work as an engineer at an engineering company. For engineering students, internships are not free. You will be paid, average is about $25 an hour for your internship time. And you'll learn about what it's like to be an engineer at that company. Most students use these internship opportunities and develop them into job offers. Those who don't develop them into job offers, they basically come to an understanding of what they don't want to do. So a lot of people take an internship, they think they know what they want to do, they try it out, it doesn't work out, and then they try something else. So it's an opportunity to find out what works for you. So we're going to have career services come in, and then they're going to provide a service for you, and you're going to take a Myers-Briggs inventory and a strong interest inventory. And what that's going to do is help you come to a better understanding of yourselves and what your interests might be. How many people have done Myers-Briggs before? I think some of you have done Myers-Briggs before. This time we'll do it, and we're going to do it with kind of an interest in seeing what kind of different people work together in group dynamics, and how people who score differently on there work together. Because engineers work as teams quite a bit, and you need to learn how to work together effectively with people who are different from yourself. The more difference you can get on your teams, the better creativity you're going to come up with. So it's good to learn how to work effectively with different kinds of people. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have people come in, and we're going to have someone come in and talk about study abroad opportunities. There's opportunities to study anywhere in the world you want to go. So they'll come and talk to you more specifically about those things. Then we'll have someone come from Manila Learning Center. That's a place where you can go if you're struggling, and they will help you develop study strategies and so on like that. Those of you who are doing well, you can get a job there helping tutor other students. Miami University will pay you, and pay you well for doing that. Students who need help can go get the help for free, and Miami University pays a bill. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And then we have a guest speaker. We have someone named Henry Petrosky. Dr. Petrosky is from Duke University, and he's written a number of books, and he's going to come give a talk on why science alone will not solve the world's problems. Basically, science is the discipline that involves developing a better understanding of the nature of things. And engineering is a little bit different. Engineering is basically a discipline that involves taking knowledge and applying it toward problems and coming up with practical results. So we'll have all that going on, and then we're going to wrap things up where you're going to work together in teams of 2 and make a poster about what you've learned here, and then do something called speed geeking. And basically it's a 5-minute presentation. So you're going to learn to do a 5-minute presentation with your poster, and we'll wrap it up. This course will be over about halfway through the semester. Does anybody have any questions about anything? I've just been going on and on. Okay. Grading. This is how you're going to make it in here. Basically, attendance is 20%. All you have to do is show up. We have some homework assignments. You're going to write some papers. Nothing longer than a page. So you're going to write some papers and turn them in, and then they're going to be graded, and there's nothing longer than a page, and so that's going to be 25% of your grade. Then there's going to be a library workshop. That's an online thing that you're going to do, and it involves basically ethics at school. And it involves not copying, not plagiarizing, and so on like that. So I want you to be aware of all those rules. And then there's going to be a couple outside activities, one of which is a picnic with free food, so it shouldn't be too hard to go to that. And then the other one, we haven't decided what it is yet, but I'll let you know when we decide. And then the speed geeking presentations. So that's all that's involved here in this class. That's all you have to do to be successful. So basically, it's hard to screw up in here. You have picked a good class to take. We are not going to give pluses and minuses, so it's just a straight A, B, C, D, and F system. And it's just a straight 80, 90% kind of thing. So 90 and above is an A, 80 and above is a B, and so on like that. Does anybody have any questions about grading? Anything at all? We had originally thought that we would have an RFID system here to take attendance. So basically when you walked in, we would be taking attendance. We don't have that technology yet. So the way we're going to take roll in here until we get that system set up is I want everyone to take out a piece of paper and just print your name on that piece of paper. It can just be a small scrap of paper. Pass it toward the center, and once the person in the center gets it, pass it toward the back. Print your name legibly. If we can't read your name, you weren't here. Pass them toward the center. So pass them toward the center, and then when the person at the end of the row has them all, we're going to pass them toward the back. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start the class with this exercise. And what we'll do each day, not Thursday, but a little bit later on, what we'll start is we'll have a question about the reading. So about reading those textbooks. There'll be some easy question. It'll be an A, B, C, D kind of question. So basically write your name on a piece of paper, answer the question with A, B, C, D. If you've done the reading, you'll know the answer. It's not supposed to be tricky. And the way it's going to work is you get 1 point for being here and another point for getting the question right. So what we want to do is just make sure that you're here and that you're doing the reading. And that's how you get a full 20 points. Anybody have any questions about that? So for today and Thursday, we don't expect you to be doing the reading, but starting next week, we're going to want you to be keeping caught up on the reading. So there'll be some easy question. All right. Is there anybody here who didn't put their name on a piece of paper and pass it up? Nobody? So we got everybody? Okay. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit about me personally. I'll introduce myself to you because then I have an assignment for you. You have your first homework assignment. But I want you to know that I have always been interested in the space program. I started off talking about the space program and Russians and Sputnik and everything. I grew up during that era, and so it kind of shaped me and molded me. And I always want to be involved with the space program. I graduated high school in 1976, and I worked for 2 years. But after that, I joined the Air Force. In the Air Force, they had a program, and they sent me to school. So I went to the University of Michigan, and I don't recommend the University of Michigan for anybody here. The University of Michigan was a fine school, but it's a great big school, and it's very impersonal. And there's nobody there who cares if you're successful. There was an attitude at the University of Michigan when I was there that I was lucky to be there. And everyone made a point of letting me know how lucky I was to be there. And so, though I arrived feeling lucky to be there, they wore it right out of me really quick. And so, I don't recommend it for anybody. This school, Miami, is like the direct opposite. Here you're going to find people care about your success. You're going to find people really do want you to be successful, and every individual one of you is going to have attention and going to have people working with you toward your success. I didn't have that when I went to school. This is really a nice place. You've made a very good decision coming to Miami University. Anyway, when I graduated, I then worked in the Air Force. The Air Force has their own space program. It's separate from NASA's. It's about 5 times bigger, and you just don't hear that much about it. It's not that it's all classified. If you go look it up on the web, you'll see they have web pages, so you can go read about it. But the Air Force has a big space program. It's very well organized, very well run. It's going very well. So though NASA might be having problems, the Air Force space program is going very well. The United States has had a military space program all the time since the very beginning. I worked there until about 1990, and I got out. I worked for General Dynamics, which was a defense contractor at the time, for just a couple of years. And then I left, and I started my own business. So I had my own business for about 10 to 12 years, and I worked in the automotive industry developing alternative fuel technologies. And so I did that for a while. After that, I left that. I went back to school. I went to Ohio University, and I worked on getting my master's and PhD. I landed a job here when I was done with my master's and working on my PhD, and I've been working here ever since. So I did not finish my PhD. I was doing it. It was kind of an interdisciplinary degree, and so I took a quarter of my classes from medical school, a quarter from physical therapy, and half from mechanical engineering. So it was a biomedical engineering degree. And I was almost all done with it, but I got the job here, and I've been working here ever since. I'm very happy. And right now, my interests aren't even in biomedical engineering. My interests are more in engineering education. So I've been here since 2005. I'm on my 3rd career. And so that's kind of a lesson for you. Those of you who are interested in engineering, you don't have to do engineering careers. Half of you are going to be doing something else 5 years after you graduate. Engineering degrees are very, very useful in that they will allow you to go do whatever in the world you want to do. So what I'd like to do kind of is tell you a little bit about part of what I did. During my time in the Air Force, I worked on the military space program, and one of the military space programs that was going on then was GPS. So this was a time in history before there was a GPS system. My job was the commander of GPS launch operations, and I was responsible for establishing an organization at Cape Canaveral that would allow us to continuously launch satellites. It's never been done before. GPS program requires at least 24 satellite constellation at any given time, and they only last 5 or 6 years each. So you're launching 4 or 5 satellites every year forever to keep that system going. And so since that had never been done before, what we had to do is set up a program for doing that. That was my job, and so that's what I did. And I'm going to show you kind of a slideshow of what was involved with that. And this is just one possible direction you could go with your career. This picture was taken. That is actually the launch of the very first operational GPS satellite. It was taken from the vantage point of a static display museum at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. You can see there's these really neat looking rockets and so on out there. The lawn is all kind of manicured. There's little signs indicating what the different displays are. And it's like the Twilight Zone because there was nobody there. It's because it was an area the public couldn't get to. So it was really strange. There was a museum out there that no one could go see. I used to go eat lunch there. But anyway, you could see the launch site for the GPS satellites. It was a nice place to take a picture. So there it is, the very first operational GPS satellite going up into space. In order to get those GPS satellites ready, we had to establish something new. And this is the GPS processing area. And so what we have here are a number of different buildings that we used for getting the GPS satellites ready. What we did, instead of finishing the satellites at the factory, we shipped the satellites partially completed from the factory to the Cape, and we finished assembly at the Cape. So we put the assembly line, the final steps of the assembly line were moved from the factory in Seal Beach, California, to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. You can see on the right-hand side, that's where the office building is. You can see cars in the parking lot and so on. And in the back on the left-hand side are where the buildings are where we worked on the satellites. And if you notice in the picture, there's these big hills or berms that surround the buildings. That was there in case there was an explosion. There's a lot of ordnance involved. So if something exploded, the shrapnel would not go sideways, it would go up. In the back, you see a runway, and that's actually where the satellites arrive. So there was kind of satellites would come in on airplanes and then go into the final assembly there in this area here. So here's a C5 Galaxy. It was a gigantic airplane they used to bring in the very first operational GPS satellite. So we're going to follow the very first operational GPS satellite. So there's the crew. There we are. You can see it's a pretty big airplane. That's me over here on the right-hand side when I was a lot younger and skinnier. You can see me there. And I was responsible for all of this. And these were the people who worked with me. So you can see there's some military people and some civilians. So we worked with civilian contractors quite a bit. So there were military officers and civilian contractors, plus there were military people who didn't wear uniforms that worked with us quite a bit. And there I am. I'm in the middle there. And I'm working, this guy on the right-hand side, he was my counterpart in Los Angeles. My boss was actually in Los Angeles. We both worked for the same boss. It was wonderful. I was in Florida, my boss was in California, and that's a nice distance. In the back, in the white box, is actually the very first GPS satellite coming in. So that's the satellite coming in. It came off the airplane, and what we had to do is it came in, it has these little casters. It's on a little thing that's easy to roll around on airplanes, but not much else. So we had to lift it up and put it onto a trailer. Each one of these GPS satellites costs about $500 million. And so there's quite a bit of money involved, and so you have to be really careful with it. You don't want to drop one. And so a lot of people work on things like this, so everything, including lifting operations, were really, really done carefully. So basically we were getting this thing ready and taking it over to the processing facility. And here it is coming out of that white box. So we moved the white box into the processing facility, which was a clean room environment. And you notice it has that plastic kind of covering on. And the obvious thing you think about is the plastic covering is to keep it clean, and that's part of it. But really, the real purpose it serves, you notice it's not completely clear. There's a thin aluminum coating on there. And the primary purpose for that was to keep static electricity from building up. Because every place you see a red tag is a piece of ordnance, an explosive nut or bolt or something that goes off during the deployment process of the satellite. So there's a lot of explosives on the satellite, and you don't want them accidentally going off. Here we are. This is a GPS satellite. This is the very first operational GPS satellite. It's gone through final assembly. It's gone through final testing. All the testing's been done. It's buttoned up. You see the solar panels are folded up, and they have covers on them. Underneath, you see that kind of dark gray round thing? That is the final apogee kick motor, and so that's a rocket engine. So that's just a pure bomb there. And then what we have is a turntable that spins the satellite before it's deployed, and a transition piece that goes between the launch vehicle and the satellite. And that's me in the middle and a couple people we worked with. We actually put a plaque on the satellite, and everyone signed their names who worked on it. That's kind of a tradition in the space program. So anytime you see some spacecraft, you know that there's signatures on the spacecraft. The Mars rovers, I guarantee, have signatures on them from all the people who worked on building those Mars rovers. We bundled up the satellite and got it ready to take it to the launch vehicle. Remember, now it's been gone through final assembly. It's all put together. We've tested it. We make sure it works. And we take it out to the launch site. And you can see the orange tower there. That's the tower by the launch vehicle. And we're taking the satellite and we're lifting it up. You can see it was kind of a rainy morning there. And there it is. That's the satellite now. And you can see the big rocket engine underneath it, and a turntable that spins it up, and a transition piece. And here's another one. The green part right here, that's the top of the launch vehicle. So everything fits together perfectly. All the mechanical parts fit together, all the electrical parts, all the right signals. When you plug the plugs together, everything works correctly. That takes about 2 years to make sure that all comes together. What you can see is half of the payload fairing is on. That's a nose cone. What that does, it protects the satellite from the rushing air during the launch, and it drops away as soon as you're out of the atmosphere to get rid of the weight. So there's the very first operational GPS satellite being positioned in there. And you can see on the outside, there's the launch vehicle, and you can notice the payload fairing or the nose cone up on top, and you can kind of see the shape, and the satellite is up inside of there. You can see there's a number of wires and ductwork going up there, and that's providing power and air conditioning and so on to the satellite during the final moments before the launch. These are some pictures we took in the evening. We all knew that history was going to be made, that once the GPS system was in place, the world would be different. And we were all aware of that. We all knew about that. And so during the night before, we were all pretty wistful and thinking about how things were going to change the next day. And it was a beautiful night. And so we brought some photographers out to take the pictures. And it just doesn't do it justice. It was a beautiful evening. You can see the rocket out there standing with the lights on it. And there we are the next morning, the launch of the very first GPS satellites, the very first operational GPS satellite going up into space. And there it goes. And it was successful, and every single one after that was successful. We had a 100% success rate with that program. So that's one of the things that I worked on before I came here to teach. And those are the kind of things you can work on too. And I just wanted to kind of share that with you, and so you know a little bit about me, because now I have something to ask of you. I'd like you to introduce yourselves to me. Your first homework assignment, and it's due a week from Thursday, so you have a whole week from this Thursday. So you have over a week to get it done. Now I want you to tell me, where are you from? What's your earliest memory? Who influenced you the most in childhood? I'll tell you, my paternal grandfather influenced me the most. For a variety of reasons, I was raised by my grandparents, and so I learned a lot of my values and so on from my grandfather, and he was kind of my father figure when I grew up. But I'd like to know, who influenced you? And I don't want to know about your most recent boyfriend or girlfriend. Who influenced you when you were a child? Why did you pick Miami University? There's a whole world of schools out there. Why did you pick Miami? And by the way, I think you did really well picking Miami. But I would like to know why you picked Miami. And I ask all my students this. The most interesting answer I've ever gotten is the food. There actually is one person who told me the primary reason they came here was the food. I don't expect that to be a common answer. If you've got a declared major, what is it? And it's okay if you don't have a declared major. What do you hope to accomplish after graduation? I know that you're probably going to change your minds, but right now, at this moment in time and space, what is it that you hope to accomplish? All of this is going to be online for you, so you don't have to copy. You may copy it, but you don't have to. It's all going to be online. I'm sorry. Everything I present is going to be online. The presentation I just gave, all your assignments, everything's going to be online. And it's going to be on NECA. How many people have successfully gotten to the NECA site? Very good. Okay. That's brand new. We're doing our best to make that a nice and interesting site. It'll be changing every day as we try and develop it. That's your very first homework assignment. And what I'd like to do now is I want to introduce to you in the back there is Neil Birchfield and Russ Ucci. They are both graduate students, and they're going to be here helping you. And what I'm going to ask Neil to do is basically talk to you about how to turn things in, how to turn in your assignments in this class. So I'm going to turn this over to Neil, and he's going to talk to you about that.
Okay, I'm Neil Birchfield. I'm a graduate assistant that I'm going to be helping Bob out in this class. My office is up in the vibrations lab, EGB 144. So stop in if you ever see the light on in the closet. That's where my office is. You can knock and I'll come answer, and we're available to help you guys. I wanted to make sure, Russ and I, that's what we're here to do. So any questions you have, feel free. You know, as long as I'm not in the middle of something, stop me in a computer lab, stop me in the hall, say, hey, I don't understand this, what's going on? Feel free. That's what we're here for. To follow up Bob's presentation, this is going to be a little bit boring. But anyway, just to make sure you guys know how to turn in the assignments. This is EAS 101. All the assignments are going to be, as Bob said, one-page papers. So we got to know how to turn those in. So we're going to all be turning those in electronically. The program will be run, or I'm sorry, the paper will be run through a program called Turnitin. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Turnitin, but it's a service that the university provides to the professors. And what Turnitin does is Turnitin basically checks for plagiarism. It has a humongous database of writings that students have turned in or publications and all these things. And what it does is you turn in your paper to us, we run it through Turnitin system. Turnitin sends back an originality report to us. Basically, it checks for plagiarism. So, like I said, the instructor right now, there are some kinks in the system, so we're going to be the only ones who see the originality report. As we learn more about the system and as these kinks get worked out, we're hoping that we'll be able to let you view the originality of the originality report as well. It's not like this big secret or anything. Right now, though, we're working out the kinks, so we're going to be the only ones viewing the originality report. It's not a big deal. It's not something to be scared of. It's not to, we're not going to come and be like, oh, you 25%, you plagiarized this. No, we understand that there are going to be some commonalities. It's just basically when you get 75 to 100%, that gives you a red flag on, hey, this guy probably copied this. So, Miami University takes plagiarism very, very seriously. Check your student handbook for any questions on that and the policy regarding plagiarism. So don't plagiarize anything. Make sure all your work's original. So how are we going to do this? So this is step one. Sounded like everyone has logged into NECA. You log into NECA, you click on the EAS 101 tab. Hey. Under the EAS 101 tab, you're going to see assignments on the left-hand side. So you're going to want to click on the assignments link. Under the assignments link, there is going to be one assignment right now. It just got released at 9 o'clock this morning. And so, again, as Bob said, this is going to be due at 5 p.m. on Thursday. We do not accept late work, so make sure you have your paper in by the due date. It closes down, and we won't accept it. That's going to be for all the assignments. So, if you go there, you log on, you're going to see the introduction. So let's say you've gone and you've written your paper, and you're ready to submit this paper. What do? Well, when you click on the assignment and it says homework introduction, homework 1 introduction, it'll bring up this page. So if you have it saved on your computer, you click the browse button. You find your document, you load it up. If you have loaded up to NECA for some reason, you can go and you click on the select files from web space or site. It will then allow you to select a file from NECA and you can load it up that way. Once you have done so, you will then either click the preview or submit button. Obviously, the preview button will just allow you to see, hey, I've attached this file. You have to click the submit button in order to submit it. If you don't click the submit button, we won't get your paper. You won't get a grade. So make sure you click on the submit button when you are finally done and ready. A little starred asterisk there, something important. Once you submit this paper, it's submitted. It's done. So unless you come to us, and then we'll have to go and reconfigure things. So make sure you turn in what you want to turn in. Don't turn in your, English assignment to our introduction or whatnot. Turn in what you want to turn in. Now, once you have submitted the file, you will then a screen will pop up. That will be a confirmation screen. This is the first confirmation that says, hey, I've turned in the assignment successfully. You'll get all these numbers. A very important note with Turnitin is it only accepts Microsoft Word, .doc, .docx files, PDF, or RTF files. Don't try to turn in a text file. Turnitin won't accept that. We won't get an originality report. We won't grade your paper. So make sure that you turn it in one of these formats. If you have a problem with that, you don't have one of these formats, please come see me, Russ, or Bob. Second, you will get an email once you have submitted this paper. This email will tell you that, hey, I have successfully submitted this paper. This is very important, and I highly recommend that you keep this document in your records. Why would you do that? Well, NECA is a new system. As if anyone has ever had a computer crash or anything like that, well, that can happen to software systems as well. So you submit this paper and, ooh, I don't know, something happens and it gets lost in cyberspace. Well, we don't get your paper, you don't get a grade. You come to us and you say, hey, I submitted my paper. The first thing I'm going to say, or Bob is going to say, or Russ is going to say is, can you show me your confirmation email? You show me that confirmation email, you have ground to stand on. If you don't have this, we're going to go, you probably didn't turn it in. So make sure you get that email, save it in a folder. I would create an EAS 101 folder. I do that for all your classes that are using NECA. And just create those, save it in there, then you have the basically receipt that says I've turned this in. Third check, you can go back to the assignments link. Then you can see underneath status, and it will show you the date and time stamp on which you turned in the assignment. So, key points to remember. Once an assignment is submitted, you can't change it. Turn it in. We'll only look at one attachment at a time. So don't try to turn in multiple. I don't know why you would do that in this class. Maybe that's for some of your other classes. If you have multiple assignments that are using turn it in at one time. Turn it in will only look at the first attachment that you attach. So make sure you only attach one thing to each assignment. And finally, the formats in which turn it in is able to read is Microsoft Word, PDF, or RTF files. For more information on Turn It In, I recommend going this. There's a nice little video that shows you what the originality report is and how it works and what kind of gets fed back to us. And it's a little bit interesting. I had never used Turn It In before, so that's new. Are there any questions?
Last thing is, I'd like to, I think you saw this before, if you came to the First Year Institute. The ECE department and the IEEE, which is a student professional organization of electrical engineers, is putting on some guest speakers, and they're all here to talk about how to be more effective and more successful here during your academic life here at Miami. So there's going to be one on August 31st concerning learning, then study tips, career planning tips, and so on. You're invited to come to these. This lecture and all the slides, everything is going to be posted on NECA, so you'll have it available for you. Does anybody have any questions about anything?